It's always been a combination of smart folks working hard, but also good luck. I also went to dinner one night with a friend of mine, Alan Portella, who is the CEO of Airstrip. And as Alan and I talked over dinner and I explained to him what we were looking at doing, he got this really big smile on his face and he said, you know, I just went to my board and got approval for a significant amount of funding to go build this, but I would rather pay you guys to do it. And so the company was literally launched on a handshake over dinner.
So we have a company in our portfolio called Sansoro Health, which is essentially MuleSoft for healthcare, right? They've done an incredible job, and what they've built is actually much more sophisticated, I would say, you know, as it applies to healthcare. But it's not rocket science. It's let's look around at other industries, let's see where the needs are, and let's build that last mile for healthcare. And that's very valuable and will likely be, you know, great exit opportunities because the buyers are fairly obvious.
We bootstrapped for the first 18 months, established the product, got ourselves into production. We were very fortunate to meet the folks from Healthy Ventures. And since they really focus on infrastructure as part of their investment thesis, this was a very natural fit.
A lot of our companies, it hasn't been that we necessarily needed to be convinced of their idea. It was that we needed to be convinced that they were a team that could put together their idea and package it in a way that would be understandable to your average investor and your average customer. Sansoro is a great example of that.
I can remember this very, very clearly. We had a crazy smart clinician who had invented a dosing algorithm for a commonly used drug that's very hard to dose and can be dangerous if you give too little or you give too much. Well, he had figured out an algorithm that would allow a clinician to put in a few data points and the current dosing and would tell the clinician, here's what you should do next. Unfortunately, it lived as a separate application. It was not integrated into the electronic health record. And so as you can imagine, very few clinicians took the time to leave the EHR, get the answer, and now go back. And so one of the very first projects we did was to take this very simple application and using this new approach, API technology, integrating it right into the clinical workflow. What we saw was the utilization went up, and we actually saw some hints that clinical quality was improving as well. That for me was both a personal and professional turning point, and when I look back now, that was about 6 years ago, that for me was when the light really went on.
Finding the articulation of the story helps you define the product and helps you then find that product market fit.